Going on, folks? In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a brother that I highly respect in his spaces, but I disagree with this point right here. In this video, he talks about a man should be afraid of disappointing women, and I highly disagree with that one, right? Because as men, especially when you're talking about black men, for example, you cannot be afraid of disappointing women. You cannot, because what that does is it makes you ineffective as a leader. Because in a man's world, you're supposed to be leading with calculated decisiveness. You understand, right? And you cannot be afraid as men to disappoint anybody. You can't be afraid to disappoint the job and lose that job. You can't be afraid of disappointing the people and places and things around in your world. You can't be. Because as a man, what that does is it nullifies who you are and your identity. It nullifies who you're about. You change yourself, and you don't want to change who you are to appease and to adjust and to um, gratify the people around you. Because in a man's world, especially men's life, nothing is guaranteed that's going to stay in your life. Things are going to come and go, right? And the question you have to ask yourself, no matter who comes and go, will I, the man, still remain? Now, Rastaman said, I and I. Well, will I, the man, still remain at the end of the day? And will you still remain who you are and live and die by what you believe in and your stances? And you cannot shift and change because it's going to disappoint a woman. And we got to break the spell that has been casted upon black men where our identity is dictated by external stuff, by our women, by society, by entertainment, by whatever. Because black men after slavery ended, or after slavery, right? Black men were picking up bits and pieces of whatever they can find to create an identity for themselves. And for the 3 decades of my living, I have watched us as black men get our identity reconstructed and then broken, reconstructed and then broken again. One moment, black women didn't like light skinned niggas. Next moment, black women didn't like dark skinned niggas. Next moment, black women didn't like niggas with dreadlocks and beards. And I've watched, and I have been engaged into it. Black men shifting who we are and who we're to become based upon what black women say, based upon what based upon the feelings and thoughts and opinions of black women. And that's the game society has been playing upon black men, is that they use our women to move us around like a beehive, where she's the queen bee and there's a beekeeper moving her around the board, and we're the beehive following her. And shout out to AC Trill. I respect you. I've been on the panel with you, but on this one, I disagree. And we're gonna get into the video.
Is that men only respect women we're afraid of. If we're not afraid of her, she don't have a chance. I don't mean afraid like in a physical threat type of way. I mean afraid of disappointing her. Afraid of being like the men in her past. Afraid of damaging her confidence. Afraid of having her look at us as something less than a man. Like that type of fear when it comes to our woman is what motivates a man to be the best version of himself.
So I'm gonna let
But
the
if that
video
fear is
play, and
not there,
then
then he doesn't have incentive. If he doesn't fear that if I'm not doing my job, she gonna get up and walk out that door on me one day. If that's not a real fear for him, then he'll never respect her. You know, it's a lot of men out here with women who will let them do whatever they want, and he doesn't respect her. But when you get with a woman who real strict in terms of her program, and in terms of her morals and standards and boundaries, and she willing to really stand on them, that's gonna force you to do one or two things, right? You're gonna either fold or you're gonna step up and rise to the bar. And, you know, that's what sparks the best version of a man. There gotta be a healthy fear there. If we don't fear her, we'll never respect her. The reality is that
no, AC Trill. I respect you a lot, brother, but I humbly have to disagree with that entire video. The boomer generation failed with the happy wife, happy life. And that's where that information is coming from that you're preaching. The boomer generation did that. And what generation of men did they create? They created men that, I want to say, yielded the authority to women. And our women lost the respect of us because of that. And then our women became rebellious and entitled to who we are. This is why a lot of the younger generation are running into problems that they're running into. Because a lot of the younger women, like the millennials, that's in my age bracket, the Gen X women, they were raised by boomer men, the happy wife, happy life boomer men, and they taught black women to be entitled. They taught the men to fear the women, because that's how a lot of boomer generation of men got into relationships. They yielded their authority and who they were and their identity to women, right? Listen to Steve Harvey. Listen to how Steve Harvey talked. That's an example of a happy wife, happy life boomer. And I think he's a baby boomer at that, right? So let's break down his video step by step.
Men only respect women we're afraid of. If we're not afraid of us, you don't have a chance. I don't mean afraid like in a physical threat type of way. I mean afraid of disappointing her.
So this is where I'm going to have to break it down. All right. So that first point right there. So let's go into this. Leadership and fear are incompatible. Leadership, by definition, requires decision making under certainty, risk of error, tolerance for disapproval, ownership of outcomes. If a man is afraid to disappoint a woman, his decisions are no longer guided by strategy, logic, long-term vision. They're guided by approval seeking. That is not leadership. That is deference. In any leadership environment, military, business, engineering, emergency response, a leader who hesitates because he fears emotional backlash becomes a liability. This isn't about women. It's about how authority works. So now, let me put my face on the board and describe how to translate this for black men. See, black men, a lot of us fear how to move, or fear to operate, or fear to move in the direction we envision for ourselves, right? And the reason being is because society has manufactured a lot of how we're supposed to operate, and then women manufacture a lot of us how we are supposed to operate. So my biggest concern with black men, including myself, is that when are we allowed to move and operate and lead based upon who we say we want to be? Because black men never had that opportunity. Black men have never been able to set up a objective patriarchy for themselves, objective patriarchy for themselves, and have set up themselves as a patriarch individually with themselves. Black men never said, okay, black men, this is our mission statement. This is where we're going. This is how we're going to operate. This is how we're going to define our community. This is how we're going to define how a woman's supposed to operate. This is how we're going to define how our children are to be raised. And based upon that objective constitution, individually, black men never were able to define how we're to operate individually. We're operating based upon what everybody else tells us to do, based upon everybody else's authority, our woman's authority, society's authority. We never had the chance to do that. And now, in 2026, when black men are breaking those spells, I'm sorry, AC Trill, we cannot put them back into that spell box, where he must be afraid to lead and make mistakes and make decisions because of how his woman feels, what his women say, because he's going to disappoint his woman. That's not how world of men work. Black men, you're going to make decisions with your life. And there are going to be people who disagree with you, and there are going to be people who agree with you. But it's not your job to make a decision to now keep somebody in your life. That person has to make a decision whether to follow you or not, especially when it comes to women. Let's continue.
Afraid of being like the men in our past. afraid of damaging our confidence, afraid of having her look at us as something less than a man.
Pause. So she said, afraid of being like the men in her past, and you said afraid of damaging her confidence. So let's go into the first part. Mistakes are inevitable in a man's world. Men build systems, systems require trial. I got to address something before first. So I'm going to address this, finish this, and I'm going to address the other 2 points that he said. Men build systems, systems require trial and error correction. Errors are part of competence, acquisition. A man who avoids mistakes to pervert emotional comfort avoids responsibility, avoids decisive action, stagnates. Every competent male leader you can name made unpopular calls, disappointing people, endured criticism, adjusted course after action, not before it. Fear of disappointing others creates paralysis, not precision. And black men, you cannot become precision if you are leading based upon you being afraid of your women, or based upon if your woman is being disappointed by you. The question is, are you disappointed with you, yourself? That's the question. And as black men, you must strive to be the best you can be for you and where you envision your life. And the woman has to make a choice. Does she want to follow where your life is going, or does she want to leave you the fuck alone? No, let's go. My fault. I'm still learning how to navigate this StreamYard thing here. My bad. So the other 2 points I want to address. Emotional management does not equal leadership responsibility. A critical distinction. A man is responsible for the consequences of his decisions. He is not responsible for managing another adult's emotional reactions. When a man internalizes, if she's disappointed, I failed as a man. Right? Let me read that again. When a man internalizes, if she's disappointed, I failed as a man. So remember that. He has already surrendered authority. That creates a dynamic where decisions become negotiable, boundaries erode, leadership becomes performative, confidence turns into self monitoring. Again, this applies in any hierarchy. Right? Now, let me break down this. In the previous slide, I said that men create systems, and then when they implement those systems, mistakes happen. For example, look at monogamy or monogamous relationships, right? Monogamy has been the cornerstone of civilization. It's created a structured family unit. Now, a lot of people want to throw away monogamy because of how it was in the past. And what happened in the past was that, or the mistakes that happened in the past was that you were coupling up people, men and women, that were not compatible with each other. You coupled up a man, or you coupled up a woman that didn't like the man, right? Now, the difference between the men and the women was that men can stay with a woman whether he liked her or not, because of society held them to that obligation, that external obligation, right? Like I said earlier before, black men and men in general are held to an external performative standard. So men typically stay with women they didn't like, but they held to their obligation. But women, once no fault divorce came through, 70% of them divorced the men. Because what? They did not like the man they were with. They did not like the man they were submitting to. So the issue wasn't monogamy. The issue was that people were pairing up with each other and they did not like each other. The women didn't like the men, but you held men to an obligation to be with a woman that did not like him nor respect him. Happy wife, happy life, right? And a woman is never going to align to a man's plan who she does not like, love, respect, or is obedient to. She will never do that. And that needs to go on a shirt. A woman is never going to subscribe to a man's plan who she does not like. So take that how you want it, take it, or digest that how you want to digest that. So that was the issue with monogamy. So monogamy wasn't the problem. It's getting the right people to get into the situation of monogamy. And that's that, right? So let's go back into the presentation. Right? Women do not benefit from hesitant men. This is where people get uncomfortable, but stay objective. But I want y'all to stay objective. Women, especially feminine women, do not thrive under indecision, excessive consultation, emotional fragility, fear-based leadership. They may say they want constant reassurance, but behaviorally, trust decreases, attraction decreases, respect decreases. Because subconsciously, hesitation signals this man is not sure he can carry outcomes. That's not an insult. That's evolutionary and psychology and social reality. This is why a lot of you red pill cats, I'm not saying AC Trill is red pill. This is me critiquing some individuals in the red pill. This is why y'all complain about, you know, and this is honest critique. I'm not saying anything bad about some of the guys in the red pill, but this is an honest critique, right? Objective. This is why y'all complain about women not following you or women disrespecting you because you're not making decisive decisions based upon your own authority and your own vision. You're looking to her for what to do and where to go. When you're a man and you've already established your life and you've already created a life for yourself and you're living that and you're being you and you're being honest with yourself, you would already know what to tell a woman what to do based upon your authority. But society trains men to move and operate based upon everybody else's authority outside of his own. And that's what that. So back to the presentation. And I think AC Trill at the last point, he said something about, let me go back to what he said.
Type of fear when it comes to our woman is what motivates a man to be the best version of himself. What motivates a man, like that type of fear, afraid of damaging our confidence, afraid.
Okay. So I don't need to present a presentation to break that down. Let me read this part before I break this down, because this is important for y'all to understand. The non-biased grounded position. A man should listen, consider input, assess consequences, remain calm and accountable. But he must also decide, accept being wrong, accept disappointment, course correct without self-abandonment. And you correct based upon you. You don't self-correct based upon the woman. If she leaves, she leaves. If she stays, she stays. Right? A leader who needs approval is not a leader. A leader who never reflects is reckless. The middle path is decisive responsibility. Final objective answer. A man should not fear disappointing a woman when making decisions, setting directions, maintaining his space, operating in male competence hierarchies. That fear erodes leadership, confidence, and respect. What he should fear is indecision, passivity, outsourcing authority, avoiding growth to preserve comfort. So what does that mean? Avoiding growth to preserve comfort is the happy wife, happy life thing where you're now going to yield your authority and decision making to that woman because she's arguing or she's trying to manipulate or she's being combative. So instead of you holding firm on who you are and checking her about that or just leaving her all completely, you're going to yield to her authority in that relationship. Right? Because what the boomer generation could have did, they could just have divorced that woman and still be in those children's life, regardless of the cost. But anyway, disappointment is a cost of leadership. Avoiding leadership to prevent disappointment is failure. Now, a woman's confidence is not that man's responsibility. Now, a man can help inspire her to be confident, but ultimately, her confidence in herself and her confidence is her responsibility. Whether she feels confident or not, is on her. It's really on her. And this is what I mean by that, right? Let me see. If I can't find the presentation in time, I'll just leave it alone. But fuck it, I'll just explain it, right? See, a woman chooses to like a man. A woman chooses to be confident in a man, whether he fails, whether he's successful, regardless of his flaws. right? It's on the woman's responsibility to choose what man she subscribes to. Is this man a bum or is this man a good dude? Is this man stable? Is this man quality? But it's not a man's job to prove that to her, and it's not a man's job to force her to like that because there's many stable men that women choose and then end up divorcing him or cheating on him. And we still blame the man for that. When it was her choice to cheat on that guy, right? Look how we make fun of Russell Wilson. Look how we make fun of what's the brother, Steph Curry, right? And it's really not Steph Curry. It's really not. Well, you can blame Russell Wilson a little bit, but if you listen to how Steph Curry relationship and you listen to Aisha Curry, I think that's her name. Aisha Curry was like, "Yo, I did not like this man in the beginning. So if you knew you didn't like this man in the beginning, why did you choose to be with him?" So that's really not on the man. Now it's up to the man's responsibility now to vet properly and to figure out vetting frameworks to now protect yourself and filter out, does this woman really like you or is she just here to run game on you? So that's where the responsibility falls on the man, right? But it's not his job to get her to like you, love you, or you know, try to dictate if she's disappointed with you or not. That's really, or be confident. Her confidence is on her, not you. Now, like I said, you can inspire her to be confident, but she has to choose your inspiration. Everything is choice and autonomy. Anything else is you're violating her autonomy by trying to make her or trying to get her to be to not be disappointed into you. You can't control that. These are things outside of a man's control. Anyway, let's go back.
Having her look at us as something less than a man. Like that type of fear when it comes to our woman is what motivates.
You're not supposed to. This is again. This is what put black men in the position and the trap we are in today. This is why when you see black men go on those balloon pop shows, they're not confident. They're good men as far as what they're doing and what they've achieved in the world. But the moment they start talking to those women on those balloon pop shows, they fold, or even on these panels, because he's afraid to be who he is because he's looking for approval out of fear of that woman because he needs that woman to validate his masculinity or not. He feels like he's less of a man because he's not. This is why there's a red pill space. Because society lied to men. And when it comes to black men, this is why a lot of black men are falling out of the dating market, or black men don't trust black women anymore. Because society has lied. This is why black men, we look at the older generation, the boomer generation, side eye, because the shit that they taught us failed us. And AC Trill, I respect you. I respect you. I respect your platform. There's just this one thing I disagree with. This is why a lot of black men are where we are today. It's why we're not confident in who we are when it comes to women. When it comes to society in general and life. A man should never fear how somebody else is going to think about you, how a woman is going to be disappointed into you. Should never be fearful of the world that's disappointed in you. No. You respect the rules of any house you're going to. I want to make sure I be clear with that. Right? If you're in America and America has constitutions and laws and stuff, as a man, you have to respect that country's laws. You have to respect the laws of your state. Understand? But at the same time, you still be who you are. But you respect everybody. You respect the other individual, man. You respect how, you respect yourself and you respect other people, but you still be who you are. You still don't allow the thought patterns of everybody else dictate who your identity is. And I've had to break a lot of that spell. I woke up I woke up to this knowledge when I was in my 20s. This is way before Red Pill Space and then Manosphere and Angry Man and Tommy Sotomayor. I've been trying to wake up and break a lot of these things when I was in my 20s, in my teens, when I was 16. Right? I never sat at the cool kids table, even though I was offered to sit at a cool kids table. I never sat there because it wasn't for me. So I was never the person to like follow along with anybody. right? But that's my issue. Let's go back to it.
It's a man to
That's
be the best
actually
version of
a
himself.
better view.
But if that fear is not there, then he doesn't have incentive. If he doesn't fear that if I'm not doing my job, she's gonna get up and walk out that door on me one day.
And this is my thing. Let me go back to my presentation. Let me go here. A man is not a rehab center for past men. This is important because I think he said that in this. First, let me break down what he said. The first thing he said.
Not a real fear for him one day. If that's not a real fear, if I'm not doing my job, she's gonna get up and walk out that door on me one day. If that's not
Now I have to ask AC Trail, is that man doing his job based upon how he structured his life and how he's living his life and what he say he's going to do with his life? Or is he doing his job based upon what that woman is saying? That's what I want to ask AC Trail if you ever see this video. Because a one thing I can find, one of the, and I hope I can find it. Okay, I gotta go into my slides. Give me 1 second. I'll be right with you guys. Damn it. No, not that one. Man. What? A lot of times when I'm doing these videos, I'll have something ready, but because I have ADHD, I could think about multiple stuff at one time. So I could have a presentation ready, but then something I'm talking about will remind me of a presentation I did before, right? So a couple things, AC Trail. I talk about the right woman. I talk about this right here. Oh no, let me move that. I talk about this, the right woman, right? So this is an objective. This is objective, right? Now, I don't tell you, you should pick a big titty woman or a small titty woman or a woman with a fat ass. I don't say stuff like that. I tell you, I can't help you pick that. That's not for me to decide. But objectively, this is the traits, the 8 pillars that a woman must have: submission, obedience, respect, love, like. Like I said, if a woman doesn't like or love you, she will not respect you, be obedient or submissive to you. Submissive to you, right? Now you have to teach a woman how to respect you, and you got to teach a woman how to be obedient to you, and you have to teach a woman how to submit to you. But she first has to like and love who you are, right? And y'all can pause this on the video, and y'all can see what the definitions of what these are described, right? Consistency. She must be consistent with you, emotionally healthy, and most important, which is the one I really want to get to, she has to be in alignment to that man's mission. Alignment means she's down for what you're down for. She supports your goals and she adapts to the direction your life is headed. Her alignment shows up. She cares about where you want to go. She wants to be part of your future, not rewrite it. That's an important one. She wants to be part of your future, not rewrite it. I don't care what woman she is. I don't care if she's a businesswoman. I don't care if this is a black woman and she's working in corporate America. She can use her knowledge of corporate America to help you get to where you're going. She assists your goals instead of competing with them. She values your purpose more than her social image. You cannot build a kingdom with a woman who wants a different country. And that's what it sounds like you're promoting in your video, AC Trend. Now, this is the most important part. And I think I've been saying it this entire time. Her submission is her choice. Her respect is her responsibility. Her liking and loving you is her own emotional decision. Her consistency depends on discipline, not your coaching. Now, you can coach your woman, but she, like I said before, she has to choose your coaching, she has to choose your inspiration, and she has to choose your plan. But she has to be disciplined to what you're coaching her and disciplined to how you inspire her. But again, that's her choice. Her emotional health or her fear of you or her disappointment in you is her choice. Her alignment with your mission is voluntary. And remember, autonomy is a person's independent ability to make choices and self govern their behavior, emotions, and action without external control. So that's what that is.
Real fear for him,
Say something else?
then he'll never respect her one day. But if that fear is not there, comes to our woman is what motivates a man to be the best version of himself.
Oh, you know why you can't rely on that? It's because when a woman leaves your life, who's going to be there to motivate you to be the best of yourself as a man? We're not talking about the woman right now. We're talking about the man himself. Men, men's help, men, his direction, his life. You cannot do that. You have to already be on your path, and you already have to be striving to be the best of you, especially for black men. All right, so we're going to go down to the final part.
But if that fear is not there, then he doesn't have incentive. If he doesn't fear that if I'm not doing my job, she's going to get up and walk out that door on me one day. If that's not a real fear for him, then he'll never respect her. You know, it's a lot of men out here with women who will let them do whatever they want, and he doesn't respect her. But when you get with
But that's the woman's fault. The type of niggas that those women are with, they're not the average day, everyday brother like an AC Triller and myself, who are about their business and in the direction that they have a life set up for themselves. They're not about that. These women are picking the bombs that are not the majority of black men.
a woman who real strict in terms of her program, in terms of her morals and standards and boundaries, and she willing to really stand on them, that's going to force you to do one or two things, right? You're going to either fold or you're going to step up and rise to the bar.
No. You can either pick a woman that aligns with who you are and where you're going, and if she doesn't align with who you are and where you're going, you can leave her right where she is. You can leave her right where she is. And let me help out the women right quick. I want y'all to stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm gonna help y'all out right quick. Hold on. Wait. Give me a second. All right. Give me a second. I should have had these set up already, but I'm like I said, I'm going on the fly, and I've made presentations for a lot of stuff already before, and you know I don't. By the time I think about them, all right. So let me go here. This from the stage. I did a video on this already. You do tell men to reward good women for aligning with you, right? Uh Mission example of rewards: attention, affection, intimacy, or privileges she values. Positive reinforcement for consistency and alignment. I've had women help me write a resume before, and I took them out to a movie and a date. I've had women pay for my Uber to get to work one time because I was really broke at one point, right? Doing construction, getting into personal training, and I had a woman pay for my Uber to go somewhere, and I took her on a date, a good like a good date too. And I bust her down. I ain't gonna lie. Shit. I don't think it's in here. Um, fuck it. It's not in here, and I don't want this video to go too long. But as you see, I got some good stuff in here, so I could break it down. I remember it now. So to women, right? You have to know what man you're subscribing to, and you have to make a choice, right? I'm not saying you're not supposed to have moral value. I ain't saying you're not supposed to have boundaries, but you have to say to yourself, do you align, or is this the type of man I'm supposed to follow or subscribe to? Understand? Now, I'm not telling you how to do with your box. If you want to have sex with a guy, that's on you. You have to make that decision. But at least say to yourself, is this guy's program who I want to align with? And to be honest with y'all women, whether you have sex with the guy or not, or you wait 90 days, it's not going to matter. Everything is a gamble. It's a gamble for men too. Like, I can give the best vetting framework for men and women. I can apply the best vetting framework for myself. But right, but that doesn't guarantee that somebody's going to want to stay with you. But at the end of the day, women, you have to when you want to get a guy, you have to say to yourself, do I want to subscribe to where this man is going? And fellas, if she's following you for 15 years, 6 months, 2 months, 20 years, and she says, I no longer want to subscribe to you, that's okay. Right? Don't tie who you are and the value of your masculinity into if a woman decides to stay with you or not. Especially if you're following who you are and you're standing on your principles and you're doing what you say you're going to do. Don't don't let women dictate that to you. If I allowed that to happen to me, I would be what what a woman wanted me to be, right? The chick that I talked about that bought me um that paid for my Uber to go to work, she wanted me to move in with her and have an apartment, and I said no because I was in my 20s and I wasn't ready for that. She wasn't ready for that, and she broke up with me for that. And then she found another dude where she did that with, and they got married and they got divorced. And later on, she called me back and said, "Yo, you was right," because how I explained it to her was that, yo, you know, I'm still living. I was still living with my mother at the time because I was a personal trainer, and personal training it was up and down, right? She was doing a nursing job, right? And we couldn't handle, and we don't like. I don't like moving in with somebody who I don't know who they are when we moved into it. Like you gotta vet people for that, right? And I was young. She was young. As two young people, we're not established. We're still figuring stuff out. And I knew that even then. So we didn't do that. And she broke up with me. But guess what? That didn't stop me from being a personal trainer. I also got into martial arts and MMA. That didn't stop me from being who I was. I still went along with who I was going to be and what I was doing at the time. I just did it without her. She left. Still respect her. I still love her to this day. But But she called me back and said, "Yo, that was a good move on my part, and she should have listened." Because I said, "No, you stay at your house, I stay at my house, and then while we're working, establishing ourselves, I go over your house sometimes. You sleep over my house sometimes." Because we had already met each other's parents and stuff at that point. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that. Another chick that helped me write my resume that I was talking about, right? She helped me write my resume. I think was for some job I was applying for. It wasn't personal training. It was something else. We broke up, right? She broke up with me because um I forget. I forget why we broke up. We broke up for some reason. A lot of chicks that broke up with me was because I did not want to go into a direction that I knew I was not ready for at the time that they wanted me to go. It wasn't because she was a bad person to me or she was disrespectful to me. It was because, yo, I didn't believe in that direction she wanted me to go into. But that's that is like you can't be afraid to disappoint women. That's going to happen anyway. Shout out to AC Trill. I respect you a lot. It's just that with this one clip, I disagree with you. I respect you a lot, brother. Shout out to you. Shout out to your people. Shout out to the True Crew Season. Shout out to everybody. This is Kiss Shawty Views and Vlogs, and I'm out.